2019 seems to be a year where a number of things that were in 2018 have moved to this year. And one of the things that we have seen from the start of this week, when we saw a traffic officer being, one of the words I don't want to use, but having been in an exchange with army officers where they were men, and this was recorded. Now, for a number of people, they went up in arms. Some of you saying that how could this be done? This is a woman. Yes, but also the fact that it's a traffic, that police against the army, but one thing still remaining, gender-based violence comes to mind. We are on the first day of March, and it is a month that highlights women. Now, you're going to have a look at statistics from last year, and these statistics talk about how women and also men are being abused. And they're showing now, the statistics, I beg your pardon, over there say 9,232 women between the age of 15 to 49 years are abused. That was as of last year. And the men are 3,758 between the ages of 15 and 49 years. Yes, for you who say, and those are just the ones that are documented. For those of you who say men are not beaten or abused, well, those are the statistics.
Interesting, and these numbers are quite worrying. And so the conversation today here on the show will be on how we can, as a country, fight this, how we can step out from that, and of course change the phenomenon of this particular vice. So in studios we are joined by two experts. Madam Rachel Tumusime, she is a programs coordinator at Africa Women and Girls Organization. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We are also joined by Mr. Venancio Banji. He is a behavioral change specialist. Thank you so much for coming in studios.
Thank you.
Let's talk about domestic violence. We were having a conversation just before we went on a break on, abortion. Yeah, and what came out from the council is that most of the women who actually procure abortion are them that got pregnant as a result of gender-based violence. They were either raped, forced into sex, they got pregnant, and so they go out seeking for help to see how they can get rid of this pregnancy. So when we talk about gender-based violence, and I think we'll start with you, where can we even start scratching the surface so we can have this conversation that at the end of the day, we get maybe help for them that are viewing us or for the whole country at large?
The challenge with gender-based violence actually is an issue of power, because, well, as you've seen on the statistics, women are more victims than men. Although again there is underreporting for the men because of cultural implications. Men don't want to appear to be weak. So. And sometimes when we talk about gender-based violence, we think of domestic violence, but it goes beyond. It covers all the human space. Where you find human beings, there will be gender-based violence. Because when we talk about gender-based violence, we are talking about violence meted onto a person because of their sex, because of their gender identity, or because of the roles that they hold in society as either a male or female. So this is what we are talking about. And the quickest way you can understand it is the issue of power. And what do we mean by power? Because power is, we can look at it in several dimensions. Who makes the decision? Who has the authority? Who has the money? Who does society give a position of leadership over the other? So like the scenario which Rita here quoted, you look at that there are two actors in the security agencies, but one is more powerful than the other. We all know that the army is more powerful than the police. So therefore, those who have power feel that they have the right, to make violence against those who don't have power.
And as we talk about power, let's go to the Parliament this week. Before we get Rachel into this, we had the Member of Parliament for Limtong talk about how men who beat women have nothing on their pants. Let's take a look.
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, yesterday when I opened my phone, then I saw a photo of a policewoman being beaten by men. Not even a man, men. I really wondered. Then I flashed back. I said now, if a policeman, a policewoman who is on her duty is being beaten by men, now what about our women at the grassroots? Madam Speaker, men are mistreating women. The men who always beat women, Madam Speaker.
Order. No, allow the member to speak, please.
Madam Speaker, men who always beat women, if you check properly, not all men. Madam Speaker,
Allow the member to express herself.
Order.
Madam Speaker, not all men beat women. But men who always beat women, if you check properly, even inside that trouser, there is nothing completely.
Information.
Because
Information.
Now, when the Member of Parliament said this, a number of people laughed about it, a number of people tweeted about it, and a number of people also misunderstood it, and everyone seems to have understood it in their own way. But she also raises one thing, which we're also going to get into, that there are women in the grassroots that are beaten in, day out. But let's first start, Rachel, with the fact that she mentions that men who beat women have nothing in their pants.
Thank you so much. Taking from the submission of our sister, the Member of Parliament, the language she used is not so appropriate. However, maybe to think about it, she meant that men who beat women don't have maybe good morals or something like that. Yeah. About the grassroots women that are being beaten, gender-based violence is an issue. It's a very, very great issue in our society, in our community. And this goes back from our culture, the culture norms, whereby a man feels like he has the authority to beat a woman or a lady, to discipline her, to correct her, which is not really right. Yeah. So maybe we have to start with our culture norms, maybe to sensitize the community about the rights of all the genders, the women and the men in society. Yes, it is very true men are being beaten, but they tend to keep quiet because a man would really feel embarrassed to go to a police station or to the authorities to report that I'm being beaten by my wife or my partner. It's a bit really embarrassing. Yeah. But yes, it is happening in our society, even if it is not reported. Though women are more victims to gender-based violence and domestic violence. Yeah.
Interesting, and Doctor, I think we'll have you on this, Mr. Banji. What exactly goes through the head of, either a woman or a man who goes all out to hurt the other, either, using words or physically? What exactly happens? Because when we interact with most of them, especially them that perpetrate this, the perpetrators, they come back and say that whenever I hit my woman, whenever I hit my man, I go into regret mode. So what exactly happens?
People who are religious would say it's a devil, it's a demon, but I always don't want to use the devil because the devil is invited into someone's life. I think it is a lapse in judgment. It's normally a judgment issue, and sometimes people, especially in domestic setting, it's about anger that is uncontrollable. Someone has anger that they can't control, but it's also about habituation, about a habit that either someone has grown seeing this kind of action, or that someone has learned over time that this is how they dominate the other party. In fact, it's a matter of domination, and it is an overdrive that when the person wants to put across their ideas and they are not accepted, then they want to dominate the person to whom they were forwarding those ideas. It's actually a domination thing. That's why later on, when they go and think twice about what they have done, they regret the act. Right. But incidentally, there are some who don't regret. They are not remorseful. They think that is the way of life. If I have violated someone, that is me, that's who I am. Why do you want me to change? So there are people who say that. To the victim, normally we could also look at a position of vulnerability. Mm-hmm. And the vulnerability comes in a number of ways. There is another clip which has been going on, especially WhatsApp, where a woman was being beaten using a cane, I think in a rural setting. Yes. And there was a group of village mates, I think voices of women and men, and they were just telling the woman to run and go. But vulnerability in such a way that the man was just caning the woman. One, the woman could not fight back. Probably she thought she's not strong enough. So that's the physical vulnerability. But there's also social vulnerability where the society does not come in to protect the people. It's like in some scenarios, gender-based violence is socially accepted, not accepted, but we don't act quickly. You know, we watch a woman being caned, and then we are just telling the woman to run away. We are doing nothing to stop the perpetrator, and we are letting them to continue. The man goes for another cane and comes back and continues caning the woman, and members of the community are there. So, and it goes back to what Rachel has said, the issue of culture. You know, especially when it is between a man and a woman, the culture, some cultural rules are that you don't interfere in matters of a couple somewhere. Because if you're a man interfering, the man may think you are the one who is causing the problem. If you are the woman interfering, the woman might think that you are the one who is giving the husband, you know, big head. So it's a very complicated scenario.
Yes, maybe to top up on what our brother was saying, there is also the factor of economic dependency, because a victim, a lady, to the greater extent ladies, they'll get scared to report the perpetrators or the ones that are impacting the violence upon them to the police or to the authorities, fearing that when this guy goes into prison, how am I going to survive? He's the one taking care of me. He's the one taking care of my children. He's the one, giving us provision for all that we need at home. So you find that they don't want to report because they fear when the man, when the law acts upon the person, they will remain vulnerable, like you had said, and they will not have any other way of surviving.
Right.
Yeah.
And as we talk about the victim, looking at the victim, for some who are men, someone would say, how is he depending on the woman? Empowering the victim to know that you can walk away, because with a number of, just in Kampala, even a number of suburbs here, you will hear next door the woman being beaten at night. Yes? And you're wondering, why couldn't you save the woman? You could hear she was being beaten, and someone will tell you, didn't she know she's not supposed to be beaten? Yes, of course the victim knows this is not a place they need to be. But how do we empower the woman who can't leave that house? What can she do? Even the man who can't seem to speak up, what are the measures they can take to also protect themselves from this violence?
I'm thinking we still need to do sensitization to these people. We need to sensitize them, to tell them that violence is not the way of solving problems or solving issues. There are alternative measures that you can use, like dialogue can work, and maybe if you're angry, you first relax and then come and discuss your issues. That can also, in fact, it is very effective. It's been very effective. Dialogue is very effective way of working out issues with partners. But as he had said, someone will fear intervening or telling them, you know what, as a lady you're not supposed to be beaten, however you're supposed to talk with your partner about A, B and C, and they'll look at you like as if you're intervening in their matters or their culture, you know, because culture says a woman is supposed to be submissive. I'm supposed to submit to my husband. And some women think that if the husband does not beat you, or if a man does not beat you, then they don't love you. You know, they feel like, yes, I'm supposed to be beaten for him to prove to me that he loves me or he cares about me, which is totally wrong. So sensitization, these people need to be sensitized. You know.
But Rachel, at what point do you then walk away?
Actually, the violence is not supposed to start even at any point. When you see the argument is really being heated up, I think one of the partners has to, you know, give space to the other, come back when you're so relaxed, and then you're cool, and then put the the matter on table and discuss about it.
And if you have a woman watching or a man watching who is in that abusive relationship, at what point should they walk out of that relationship?
I feel like the first situation, or the first thing they have to do to release themselves, is to first report what is happening to the authorities, you know, because we have probation officers that work on family matters. I suggest that maybe she can report, or he can report to the authority what is happening, and probably call the other partner for a dialogue to see the way forward. Yeah.
So doctor, in that case, also empowering the victim, besides walking away, and also the one who may not know, there is this one who's dating this person. They haven't seen the signs, because a number of times people say, they are signs. You knew that person would eventually beat you.
Yeah.
Are there signs that someone can look out for, maybe in a relationship that hasn't tended to that yet?
Yes. If I may, there are other signs. If, for instance, in a domestic setting, you have a partner who yells, throws objects, they may not be directed at you, they are directed to the walls, kicks things, slams doors. Those are earlier signs, and you need to address them, and you need to talk about them. Before the man probably gives you a slap, he will have raised his hands 3, 4, 5 times. So every time he raises his hand, please have a discussion about it. Why are you raising the hand? So they are telltale signs that you can look for. They differ from person to person. Some people will just keep quiet. People think that keeping quiet completely about an issue is resolving it. In fact, as you keep quiet, you begin having thoughts with yourself without exchanging with the other person. So you cannot know what the other person is all about. You raise an issue and someone keeps quiet for 3, 4, 5 days, a whole week.
Silent treatment.
Yes, silent treatment. In public sphere, you may find maybe someone is pushing, someone is arrogant, someone is disrespectful. Like you're in an office and you maybe you want to use the same equipment and someone pulls it away from you with, these are the signs.
Okay, and before we come to a close, of course, as just in a nutshell, I'm sure a majority are watching. The numbers show us that this is a vice that is, happening in most of the homes. So someone who is watching us today is a perpetrator. He has anger issues, he or she. Where do they start? How do they seek help to reform? We can start with you as you give us your remarks as well, Rachel.
Okay, I work with African Women and Girls Organization. We offer quite a number of programs as well as rehabilitation programs. Yeah, we have an anger management program as well as a stress management program for those that are victims to it, because there are so many effects that come after the violence that will include depression, stress, fear, and maybe suicidal thoughts. So we have a program that is for both men and women.
The victims.
Yes.
Okay.
And also the children. Even those ones, even if you're not a victim as well, it's a good program for you. It's called the Transcendental Meditation Program. We offer a meditation program. It's a meditation technique that someone can practice 20 minutes twice a day while their eyes are closed, or seated in a comfortable situation. Basically, when you're doing meditation, that can help you calm your body down.
Are these services for free?
Yeah, they are free when you contact our offices. When you can come to you can reach out to us at our offices. We are on Bokota Street, and yes. Yeah.
All right. Okay. As you come to a close, Mr. Banji, how does someone seek help?
Okay. Fortunately, I'm a regular on one of your other programs, NTV Men, and we have offered a series of solutions to some of these things. But one, to the victims, please never ever keep quiet. If there is violence against you, discuss it with the perpetrator. If you see that they are not remorseful, then
a third party?
A third party is normally required, and if you see that there is continuity, then report to the authorities. But for the perpetrator, because the perpetrator actually is sometimes we think that the perpetrator is the problem. Sometimes the victim presents themselves to the perpetrator to be violated. Sometimes.
Okay, but how then does a perpetrator just
So the perpetrator therefore needs to recognize that they have a problem and they seek help. Sometimes you need to talk to a friend. Sometimes if you're educated, you can read about some of these issues. There is information on the internet. You can have books about anger management, self-control, respecting others, how to respect others, how to respect yourself, because it begins with self-respect. Okay, self-control, self-respect, and then you can go for professional help. There are a range of programs in government departments, in also private providers. You can talk to a friend if you are religious. You can go to God,
Okay.
to church, talk to a pastor.
And they will help you.
Yes, they
But
will help
seek
you.
help.
Seek
Seek
help.
help.
Okay.
Yes, seek
All
help.
right. Okay, so now you know. If you're being beaten up, if you're beating up at others, it's not right. Just seek help. I mean, we need to make sure that the family unit operates at 100%. And we're preaching love this month, Rita.
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
Yes, we are. So to all the ladies out there, you have a voice. You could be able to always report to the authorities. There is a law against this action within our country. And to all the gentlemen that are watching this, and maybe you know of a man or you are the man that has been bitten, you can also speak out. There's a space for you.
Right.
We'll be coming back with business updates. Keep it morning at NTV. Thank you so much for joining.
Are you dreaming of longer and thicker